My name's Louisa Wigington and my dad, Roger Kearney, is in prison for a murder which he did not commit. My dad is a caring person. You know, he's a first aider, he was a safety steward, he was a union rep. He's not a callous murderer, but I remember the foreperson of the jury standing up and I was just holding my breath. And when he said guilty, I couldn't believe what I'd heard.
We felt really sure that we had a very, very strong possibility of objectively identifying the murderer. We drew up our forensic strategy, and that essentially drew up a kind of pecking order of the exhibits that we thought were most likely to show objectively who had carried out this murder. There was a carrier bag with a fingerprint in blood on it. It's somebody's hand which has gone into wet blood, and there were tapings from her clothing where we could show who had put her into the boot of the car. We wanted those exhibits and we requested them so that we could get that new objective scientific work done.
I was thinking, yes, this is it. We've finally got somewhere.
So you had these pieces of evidence that you wanted to retest. Can you tell me what happened when you did retest them?
We couldn't retest those items because those A-list items, exhibits as we called them, had been lost or destroyed or contaminated by the police force that had the responsibility to store them safely. By destroying those items, that police force destroyed Roger Kearney's chance of objectively showing whether he's innocent or not.
What should happen to material gathered in the course of a police investigation? There are two key sources of information for frontline staff. The first is the Criminal Procedure and Investigations Act 1996. The second comes from the National Police Chiefs Council. CPIA provides clear guidance with a uniform direction that all material should be kept until a prisoner is released. In the most serious categories of crime, NPCC directs forces to keep material for 30 years before review. If in doubt, in unsolved crimes, keep all evidence. In solved crimes, all evidence should be kept until the prisoner is released.
The problem is we know a large proportion of police forces just aren't complying with the guidance. My name is Damien Allain. I spent 30 years in the Metropolitan Police and the vast majority of that time was as a senior detective. So what happened in the Roger Kearney case triggered an important question for Inside Justice, and we wanted to know how widespread is that practice nationally, items going missing or being destroyed. So in 2017 we made a Freedom of Information request to 43 police forces in England and Wales, and we posed a question: how long do you retain your material for post-conviction, and what guidance do you use? So the results of the survey revealed inconsistencies in forces, and only 2 police forces of 43 using the correct NPCC guidance. We brought the results of the survey to the attention of the Ministry of Justice, and then we re-ran the survey in 2019 just to see if there'd been a change or improvement. The results of that survey revealed that 8 forces were now complying with the correct NPCC guidance, which was progress. However, the remainder of those 43 forces were not complying with the NPCC guidance. As a former detective, I understand that there's lots of guidance out there and perhaps it's confusing to some forces, but if somebody's been wrongly convicted, then the right person is still at large and the public are at risk.
Policing cannot operate without the confidence of our communities. I'm Gavin Stevens, I'm the Chief Constable in Surrey Police. There are lots of things that make up confidence. One of them is the fairness of the justice process. Occasionally, of course, there are miscarriages of justice, and it's vitally important in those cases that the police are seen quickly to engage in being part of the solution to putting things right. So having really high standards of retention helps with those historic reviews and with cold case reviews. And the national guidance is something to pay very close attention to.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello everyone. Thank you very much for inviting me here today. So, evidence retention. Our job at Inside Justice is to raise awareness about this because it's so important, it's central to our work. The message was pretty uniform that the storage solutions, storage systems for evidence now is really problematic. The good news is that since we started our project, more forces are aware of the guidance they should be following. But we've got to continue because awareness is not as high as it should be, as it needs to be. So to do that, we're speaking at whatever conference we can get ourselves invited to. If Roger Kearney is truly guilty of this crime, then we would like to find that out very swiftly, so that we can leave him safely tucked up in prison and we can move on to a case that's really deserving. Our aim is simple. We need to have every one of the 43 police forces following the same guidance so that cases like Roger Kearney's don't happen again. The guidance is out there, but we need help to be able to spread the word, to raise awareness about that. So let us know how we can help.